Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm excited to see these many people here. It's way more than I expected. I would also like to thank the GDGMálaga organizing team for letting me be here today. I'm very excited to do this talk. Before starting, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Marta. I am currently working as a software engineer. I have been working in the cybersecurity industry for 5 years now, and I am currently working at VirusTotal, which is the product that I'm presenting today in this talk. Besides this, I am also an organizer in a local women in tech community called Yes We Tech. I leave in here my contact information in case you want to reach out. And okay, so I said that I work at VirusTotal and that it is the product that I'm presenting today, but for those of you who don't know what VirusTotal is, it is an online service hosted at virustotal.com, and we scan files and URLs, and we provide you the verdicts from many different antivirus vendors, so you can check whether this file is malicious or not. We also provide many different metadata about the IOCs that the people provide us. And it is a platform that it is widely used in threat hunting, which is like the features I'm showing today. I would like to say that we are hiring. We have currently open positions for UX designing and software engineering. So if you are interested in knowing more about this, I will be here so you can reach out and we can talk. And now, let me tell you a story. It all started a couple of weeks ago when a friend sent me this message on WhatsApp. So it is a link saying something like free coffee machines for International Women's Day. And in the link metadata, you can see it is related to Nespresso somehow, but the URL itself is tinyurl2, which doesn't look very much related to Nespresso. So it looked kind of suspicious to me, and the first thing I did was going to VirusTotal and check the antivirus verdicts for this URL. And I saw like many very reputed vendors were reporting this as a phishing URL. So, okay, this was malicious. But I wonder how my friend received this in the first place. I wanted to know more about how was this spread, so my friend received this in the end. So the first thing I did was checking submissions from which places in the world this URL was uploaded to VirusTotal. And to my surprise, it was only submitted from one place. It had only one submission, which was weird to me because, my friend received this, so I was not expecting this. So I wanted to know more about this domain, so I went to the domain's report, and the domain itself was reported as phishing, so which means like it is not only a URL, it is the whole domain, the whole activity that it is hosted here. Checking the details of this domain made it to the popularity ranks. It is in many popularity ranks, such as the Alexa. So it means that this domain is generating a lot of traffic on the internet, which means this is something big. Besides this, at VirusTotal, we also return Google results. And in this case, among all the results that this domain had at VirusTotal, I saw this one highlighted, which is a government report, and explaining that this is actually a phishing campaign. So okay, I am getting like a triple confirmation of okay, this is malicious and it is bad. So I wanted to know more about this campaign. And the next step I did was searching on VirusTotal intelligence. VirusTotal intelligence is known as the Google of malware. So you provide some information, and we return all the related IOCs that match this search query. In this case, I searched the title, the free coffee machines for International Women's Day. And I got like 1,000 results. Each of the results was only submitted once or twice. So, and you can see like they are all the same, but they have like a random path in the URL, which means that this campaign is generating random URLs for each victim. So it is harder to track the activity. Next thing I did was checking one of these individual results. And at VirusTotal, when we scan a URL, we analyze the HTML that it returns, and we create relationships between the URL and the scripts, the JavaScript scripts that it is hosting. So in this case, this URL is hosting 2 malicious scripts that I highlighted here in the slide. So I checked one of these scripts, and this is the content. It is a fully obfuscated script. Like, it is impossible to understand like what this is doing. It is impossible to extract any logic to move on with investigation. Or that was what I thought, until I saw a string that caught my eye among all this obfuscated information. So it was this string. And you might ask, what is this? So that is a Google Analytics tracker ID. Since I have worked on doing web scraping in the past, this quickly caught my attention. So, this is the structure of these tracker IDs. And this is something pretty unique, because each website has its own Google Analytics ID. So I know I could use this as a unique identifier to find more IOCs related to this campaign. So I did, and I searched for URLs containing this string in the response, and I went from 1,000 results to 5,000. And what is the difference between these results and the previous ones? So the difference is language. It was the same phishing campaign, but translated in many different languages. So I saw English, I saw French, Portuguese, Spanish. So this is getting bigger. Like, it is now an international campaign targeting users in many different countries. I decided to sort the results. At VirusTotal, we store the content for a month. So the first results I got were from February. And this is important because these first results here were from St. Valentine's Day. So the information I got here is that this group is launching campaigns for big seasonal events. So for the moment, we had International Women's Day and St. Valentine's Day. Now I wanted to find more about the scripts that they were using, since it looked like something pretty unique about this group. And so, okay, at VirusTotal, we have a feature called bhash. It is used to find similar files. So in this case, I used the bhash feature, starting from the first file that I've seen before, and I got another one. And when I inspected this one, I saw that it was used in URLs that were scanned in November. So it is a confirmation that this is a previous version of the script that we've seen before. When I inspected these URLs, I saw that they were Black Friday campaigns. So again, it confirms my theory of this group launching campaigns on big seasonal events. Now, up to this point, I had like a lot of information, a lot of data points, and I needed something to organize all this information and to better understand in a more visual way. And this is where VirusTotal graph comes handy. VirusTotal graphs organize all the information so you can understand how the elements are related with each other. You can understand which ones are the most important, like the ones that have a more central position in the graph. And you can also find more IOCs by expanding the nodes in the graph. And you can also understand like how this is all related, but still it is quite big. So I'm gonna walk you through each side of the graph so you can understand better how the information is represented. Let's start with this node here. Like this node is right in the center of the graph. It is a script that is used by 24,000 URLs. So as an investigator, if I wanted to understand how this campaign works or what damage they do to the victims, I would put a lot of effort on the obfuscating this string, so this script. Also, at VirusTotal, we return a timeline, so the user can see how the campaign has evolved over time. So here I see that the most activity started in late 2021, but there's also some records from 2020, like 2 years ago. And you can also, in the graph, you can filter to specific dates, so you can get only like how this campaign was in certain date. So I filtered to get, like, I wanted to see the first script that was only in 2020, and I found it here. As you can see, it is from December 2020, and when I inspected this script at VirusTotal, funny enough, I found the same Google Analytics tracker ID. So this was a good confirmation to me that this was an even earlier version of the first script that we saw. Now I wanted to focus more on the infrastructure. And here I used another feature like to filter for entities, like the graph can be huge, and you saw that there was a lot of nodes. So if you want to focus on a specific section of the graph, you can filter. So in this case, I filter for domains and IP addresses because I wanted to understand like how is the infrastructure that this phishing campaign is using. Since this looks a bit messy, you can also recalculate the layout, and now it looks way better. So I see like there is a main group of nodes here, and this is the nodes that I will focus on. So here I see like there is a bunch of central IPs here that all the domains that this campaign is being hosted on, all of them resolve to this group of IP addresses. So if I was an administrator in a corporate network, I would create suricata rules to monitor traffic coming or going to these IP addresses. So I could track like whether this is not being happening on my corporate network. Also, we provide like the certificates, and we can also see how the certificates are related to each other. So funny enough, all the 3 domains and a couple of IPs, all of them had a common SSL certificate. So this certificate, I will keep this, and I will check for, I will keep this certificate as a good indicator of this campaign. So if I see in the future another domain having this same certificate or another IP, I would automatically know, like, okay, this is part of the campaign, since it is already being used in other parts of the infrastructure. When I inspected the certificate, it was a Let's Encrypt certificate, so nothing special. But I saw something pretty good here. I saw an additional domain. So these 3 domains here are the ones that were showing in the graph. And there's one that was not in the graph and I didn't see before, but was here in the certificate. So I went to VirusTotal, and funny enough, it was not detected by any antivirus vendor. It was clean. But here, VirusTotal says that this domain is resolving to one of the IP addresses that was, in the central part of the graph. So, the certificate plus this resolution to this IP, I can confidentially say, like, okay, yeah, this is part of the campaign. But still, in the URL section, I can see that this is still not being used, or VirusTotal has not seen this domain in any malicious URL yet. But I would keep an eye on it. I mean, I would save this because I'm sure that in the future, in any way, it will be used. And up to this point, I was a bit overwhelmed with all the information that I got. So I used another feature in the graph to export all this information as a VirusTotal collection. And you may ask, like, okay, what is a collection? So it is one of our latest features. It allows to keep a list of IOCs. Usually these IOCs are all related because they are part of an investigation, they are part of the same campaign. So in this case, these IOCs were part of this phishing campaign that I was investigating. And this is pretty useful because I can come back to this in the future. I can use this as my source of truth. I can share this on social media. I can share this on internal reports. And it is also useful because when you visit any of these items, you will see that they are part of the collection. So any other investigator that finds any of these URLs or any of these scripts, they will automatically see, like, oh, this is part of a collection. And in the collection, they will see all other IOCs that I previously found. So it is also helping other investigators that are investigating the same thing. So here I have the URLs, but I also have all the scripts, all the IP addresses, and domains. So, okay, let's do like a wrap-up of everything that we have discovered. I would like to remark that we started from just a URL that I received, and from this URL, we have discovered that it was part of a big phishing campaign that was targeting international users. This group, they launched campaigns on big seasonal events. So we saw Black Friday, Christmas, St. Valentine's, and International Women's Day. And we also discovered that this group is quite lazy because they use the same scripts or slightly modified versions of the same scripts, the same infrastructure, and even the same domains and distribution channels, WhatsApp. We also see that the campaign started in 2020, but most activity is happening right now. And all this information was gathered only using VirusTotal. So now I would, if you have any questions, it's the time.